Hi, welcome to All American Tractor Works. I'm Greg Mipps. Today we're going to try to get back into this transmission on the Super H, see if we can get the axles pulled out, get the rest of the gears pulled out, and get to a point where we can take the housing itself, take it out, degrease it, wash it, and start putting this back together. So let's get into the shop here and get working. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I need to remove this differential retainer here. I removed the one on the other side here, basically so I knew how to do it when I shared it with you what I was going to do. But there are some little indentations here to help pry it out. And I'm just going to take a big screwdriver in there. I've got another one over here, and see if I can just start working into this and start prying this out. They're just pushed in. They're held in with, I do believe, O-rings are on the inside. This one's going to be stubborn, but it is coming. See if I can get this other one in here. There should be another, there's another area over here to pry, but I don't know if I'm going to get much with it. Let's see what we can get in here. Here it comes. You just got to be patient with it. Let's see if I can get us. There's another little slot over here to pry in, but it's so full of dirt and who knows what that I can't even get the screwdriver into it. Okay, it is coming. So is it next Christmas. There we go. It's starting to come out a little bit easier now. Just takes a little doing. Like I said, like everything else on this machine, it probably has not been taken apart ever. It probably came from the factory and has lived its entire life and never been apart. So things are not that easy. All right, I think we're getting there. Like I said, you just have to have patience with this stuff. Don't force it. A lot of times I've tried to force things only to find out that there was still a bolt holding it in or something like that, stupid like that. So just be patient, take your time. Be patient with me. It's coming. Here we go. There we go. Now it's coming out. Get a little bit more over here. Try to pull it out square if we can. There we go. There it goes. Comes out. Yeah, it's got an O-ring on it. You can see it right here. It just pushes in. It presses in. When you pull it off, there's a series of bolts here that this flange holds the whole differential in. We're going to leave that for now. We're going to start working on the axles. But before we work on the axles, I wanted to point out that because I am going to pull the axles off, I had these jack stands here that were supporting the whole thing. So because this axle is going to come off, I'm going to lose this point. So I just took a 2x6 here, put it on some other jack stands, just put 2 bolts in to where the power takeoff assembly bolts into. And that way I know it will safely support the carcass of the transmission here. I do not want this to fall, especially on my toes. I can't even imagine what it weighs full, let alone empty. So just took some more extra precaution here with this. So let's go ahead. We're going to start working on pulling these axles out. All right. The next thing we have to do before we take these axles off is I have to take and pull the bolt that holds these big bull gears in here. Once I pull that bolt off of there, it's like there might be a big washer on the end. I'm thinking once I unbolt this housing here, the whole axle assembly will slide out, leaving the bull gear inside. I can't pull the bull gear out until I remove the axle because of the differential and the way it sits in here. So having never taken apart an International before, like I said, this is experimental for me. I'm learning as I go. And as you can see, I don't have my Sunday best on today because it's a little nasty in here. I didn't want to get my good clothes ruined. One of the things I noticed when I pulled this transmission apart, I think I mentioned it earlier, that when I drained it, I got oil the consistency probably of like a loose pudding. I took and put a putty knife inside, and I had to scrape out the oil that was in there, which is a dead giveaway that it's probably had a lot of condensation in it and a lot of water mixed in with it. It's still pretty gooey down there. I do have a pan underneath to catch anything if it leaks out when we take the axles off. But the first thing I need to do, like I said, is get this bolt out of here and see if we can pull this axle out. And it's coming nice and easy, which is good. Actually, I'm at the point where I think I can do it with my fingers now. And here it comes. Yeah, it's a long bolt. There, we're about there. All right, I didn't want to drop it in the sludge because, like I said, it's really nasty down there. So yeah, it looks like now what'll happen once I unbolt this axle and pull it out, the bull gear will remain inside the transmission. So let me get set up to do that. I'm going to use the engine lift to lift this axle off of here because I'm sure it's really heavy like everything else. I'm going to set up the engine lift, we'll pull the bolts, we'll pull the axle out. All right, so let's start pulling these axle bolts out here. I did try to loosen one already just to make sure that I could do it. Again, they've been here since 1953, so 70 years of not moving. They're not very cooperative. As you can see, I took and I've put my engine stand in place here. I have a little bit of tension on this axle just to hang on to it. Because like I said, I'm sure it's going to be really heavy when we finally get it loosened up. But hopefully it should just slide right out real easily. These aren't too bad coming out. Let's see what this one does. Yeah, they're not too bad. It's the one good thing about large hardware. It comes out a lot easier than smaller hardware does, which usually you tend to snap it always. Let's see. Oh, okay, here's the one that's going to give me a problem. Let's see if I can get a little more leverage. There it goes. And then there's one down here. As you can see, I got a drip pan down here just in case anything does come out when we pull this axle off. I don't think it will, but just try to keep things as clean as we can so we don't have to step in anything. I'm going to go over to the other side here. Get this one underneath. Be careful when you loosen these how much force you put on them. You don't want to take and have it break on you, fall into the shaft here, split your head open. So make sure you're balanced when you do it. Okay, I can hear the gasket breaking loose. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove these bolts all the way now. And they're not going to come out easily. They're going to fight the whole way out probably. Although I probably have a little bit more tension on this than I need. I just don't want it to tip the whole unit on me there. There's the first bolt out. Get this next one. This one seems to be coming out a lot easier. Alright, I probably could be using air tools for this, but I take you guys into consideration on that. It'd be a little loud. I don't think you guys want to hear air tools. Let me get this top one out here. This one's coming out fairly easy. Let's see if we can get it out the rest of the way by fingers. These are all nice heavy bolts. We'll be able to clean these up. Of course, we'll reuse them. And even though technically they say that fasteners can only be used so many times. If this was going to fly, I might follow that, but This isn't gonna fly. If a bolt breaks and it breaks down, I roll off the side of the road. No problem. We'll reuse the old hardware as much as we can. Okay, this last one down below. Let's see if I can get that out of my hand now. There we go. All right, 2 more bolts and we should be free. That one's pretty loose. Let me loosen this one up some more. All right, I think we should be good. Set my wrench down over there. And the last bolt coming out. All right, here's the test. Let's see if I can get this axle to swing out of there. It's loose. I'm going to put a little bit of upward pressure on it. There we go. Maybe I put too much on it. Let it sag just a touch. There we go. All right. All right, maybe it's not going to slide out as easy as I thought it would. Something's still holding it. Well, we'll have to have a look. See what's going on. See if I can get it out now. Well, it's definitely loosening. Oh, yeah. Oh, here it comes. That bowl gear was being stubborn. Didn't want to let it go. Let's see if I can work this back out. Because it is starting to come out of the bowl gear. So, let me go back over and see if I can yank it out some. There we go. We're getting a little more movement on it. Got to just pry that bowl gear off again. Come on, baby. I'll put a little more upward tension on it. I just need to have it square. If it's not square, it's not going to come out easily. Pick it up a little bit more. All right, let me see if I can pry that gear off a little more. Yeah, I think I put a little bit too much upward tension on it. I'm just going to lower it down just a touch. Okay, let me pick it back up a little bit. All right, come on. So what I'm fighting is there's the machine part of the casting that fits right into the rear end here. And like I said, if you don't pull it out square, it's not coming out. So that's what we're fighting a little bit. Okay, let me see if I can pry that bowl gear off a little more. I'm going to take, just put a flat bar in here, just so I can pry against that. Because every time I go to pry this, it pulls the axle back in. So we're just going to put a little tension on that. See if I can get this bowl gear off some more. Yep. It's like wrestling alligators. can hear all my bolts falling off. Well, the casting part is out, the machine part of the casting. But this bowl gear still doesn't want to give it up. But we gotta be, oh, here it comes. It's just being a little difficult. Let's pull this axle out a little more. We are so close. There we go. There you go. This was the machine part of the casting that I was talking about that goes inside. You don't pull that out square, it's not going to want to come out. So one side off, you can see the sludge that I was talking about. Kind of nasty stuff that's in there. I don't have any leakage, which is good. Let me move this out of the way. I'm going to pull that bowl gear off. We'll go to the other side. We'll loosen the other bowl gear, pull the other axle out. Here we are on the other side. I got to take this bolt out of here, out of this bowl gear like I did on the other side. In order to do that, because it's just going to want to spin that axle, I'm just going to take, and I'm just going to put a little bit of my flat bar in here, just to see if I could keep that from wanting to turn. There we go. Doesn't take much, just enough to loosen it. These bolts, because they've been sitting in oil, they come off pretty easily. That's a big thing too about a transmission. If you go to restore a tractor, pull the plug on the transmission if you can. You get a whole bunch of water and no oil. Just know that you're definitely looking at a full gasket and seal replacement, and a lot of rust and a lot of cleaning, maybe a lot of pitting in the gears. My John Deere B that I have behind me here, when I opened that up, I got about 5 gallons of water out of that transmission. It took a lot of cleaning. It was still in good shape because it's so heavy. Stuff's pretty durable. It didn't get pitted very much. Nothing in there is turning at high speed. I like to say it's not flying, so it's not that crucial. But something to think about when you get into a machine and how much you want to deal with it. So now we got to remove, I've got tension on this a little bit. We got to remove these bolts here. Let's see how cooperative they will be. So far, so good. Again, like I said, large hardware is nice because it usually cooperates. I don't think I've ever snapped anything larger than a 1/2-inch bolt in all of my restoration projects. I don't want today to be a first though. All right, there we go. Loosen that up. Get this one underneath. Well, when I removed that last axle, it was pretty heavy. I am very thankful for the engine lift. I'll tell you that right now. With my feeble back, I don't know if I would have been able to lift it. It was hard enough getting it detached. So yeah, something to think about when you're working on these too. Be ready. Don't pull these things off and not have a way to handle them. That one's pretty dirty and rusty in there. I haven't had any leakage out of the transmission. These sit up above the bottom quite a bit, probably about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, so I don't have to really worry about any leakage. I've had stuff drip off the axles more than anything. I just run around and keep wiping up the floor. And I think I got one more. Nope, I got them all loose. Okay. Let's see if I can get them out the rest of the way with my fingers. Maybe not on that one. I figure that other axle probably weighed, oh gosh, a good 75, maybe 100 pounds, maybe as much as 100. It was not light. And once I get this axle off, it'll take a lot of weight off of this box here, but I would imagine this casting alone must weigh 100, 150 pounds at least. It is solid, it is large. Again, thankful for my engine lift. Hydraulics are a wonderful thing. Can hear my breath today. I'm like out of gas. Working hard today. All the stuff's heavy. Takes a lot out of you. So I'm pulling these bolts out. I'm looking down at the wonderful pudding sludge in the bottom of this transmission. Just reinforces that I'm doing the right thing by pulling it all apart and cleaning it all. Yeah, you probably could take and spray this out with brake clean or even gasoline if you have to degrease it and get all the lousy oil out of it. And then fill it with nice clean stuff. You'd probably be okay. I just want to be 100% sure. I also wanted to change all of the seals on this. All the gaskets, all the seals. Just have all new stuff. Like I said before, there's nothing worse than painting a tractor up, making it all nice and pretty, and then to have oil come out of areas and just mess it all up on you. All right, we have, I got one more bolt. This one's going to be a little more stubborn. This is our last one. I think it's because of the tension that might be on it. Yeah, this one is not going to participate as well, but we'll get it. Here it comes. So a lot of people ask me all the time, so what kind of tractors are your favorite? You know, you got your red guys, you got your green guys, there's the yellow guys, you got them all. My answer to that is I love them all. I don't care what kind it is. I was born and raised on John Deere. I've really come to respect and love Fords a lot. And as I told you in the last episode, I watched the internationals across the street from my house. So I grew up on red in a way as well. So those are some of my favorites, but Minneapolis Molines, Olivers, Alice Chalmers, I really like them all. There's no tractor I'd walk away from. The brave guys to me are the ones that restore the very unknown tractors, the ones that are very rare. Ones you can't get parts for anymore, ones that maybe there aren't any manuals for anymore. Those are the brave guys. I don't know if I'm that brave. So my hat's off to those guys. You guys out there that do those rare machines, it's good you're here doing it, because I don't know if I could. But, you know, where there's a will, there's a way. So let's see if I'm back up against prying this bull gear off of here. This, much like the other side, doesn't want to come so easy. We'll just wiggle it a little bit. Here it comes. It's actually coming a lot easier than the other side did. Maybe I put a little bit of up tension on this. There we go. I'm going to take and loosen up that gasket, even though I am going to replace the gaskets. I like to salvage the old ones if I can, until I know for certain that I can replace it. In case I got to make a new one, in case I can't find a replacement, which I already know I can, so I'm not so worried about that. We're about to break free, and there we are. Last axle out. I'm going to take and pull this bull gear out too, so you guys can see that. It weighs a few pounds. This gear alone, gosh, that's got to weigh at least 50 pounds. Definitely heavy duty, but that's why they're here. I will, if you notice, I marked this with tape, this axle, the right. I will keep these together. I will probably put the bull gears in on the same side. I know a lot of guys, when they get into transmissions, they will look for wear. And if there is wear on the gears, they'll flip the gear so the wear now is on the other side to make it last a little bit longer. This transmission has almost no wear in it. The only wear that I can find, it looks like it's on the second and fourth gear, which is probably because those are the two most commonly used. But even the wear on them Really not that bad. I'm not worried about it. Again, like I always say, it's not going to fly. So you run heavy oil in this thing, it's going to be fine. I'm going to put them back in the way I pulled them out. Which leads me to one last thing that I want to mention. Before I pulled all this apart, I took and pulled out my camera, my phone, and I just snapped some pictures of this. Pictures are worth 1,000 words, right? I got the manual. I've got a pretty good idea what I'm doing here and how things go. But there's nothing in the world like having a picture when you get to a point of, uh-oh, where does that go? Or which way does that go? So take some pictures, document as good as you can. The manuals are great, but the pictures will help you see things maybe a little bit better. And I've even had times where the pictures didn't even help me. I had to guess and put something in wrong and had to take it apart and put it the other way. It happens. So just try to be careful, document stuff as much as you need to. Keep fasteners together, keep the parts together. It helps me a lot. I forget easily, so I do everything I can to help me when I get this put together. So what I'm going to do now, let me get this gear put down. Let me get this axle off of the engine lift here, and we'll work on pulling out the rest of the gears in this transmission.